Hello everyone. So this is Electrical Circuits 2, Module 1, Topic 1, which is AC Fundamentals and Waveform Characteristics. By the end of this topic, the students should be able to first explain the generation of alternating voltages and currents. Second, derive and apply equations for alternating voltages and currents using standard and alternate methods. Third, define the key terminology related to simple waveforms, including cycle, phase, and phase difference, and identify and express the different forms of EMF equation. First, the generation of alternating voltages and currents. Alternating voltage may be generated by rotating a coil in the magnetic field as shown below, or the left photo I mean, or by rotating the magnetic field within the stationary coil as shown below right. Now, you need to look at it that from your physics before, um, whenever you have a north and south pole here, there is this a magnetic field in the middle. Okay, and a voltage is generated whenever you have a coil in the middle, and then and then you try to rotate it because there is what um, diba, these are magnetic lines, magnetic flux. Okay, you already discussed this one during your physics and electromagnetism. Okay, then when this coil is rotated, there is this what cutting of flux. Whenever there is a cutting of flux, there is a generated voltage. Okay, the value of the voltage generated depends in each case upon the number of turns in the coil, strength of the field, and the speed at which the coil or magnetic field rotates. Alternating voltage may be generated in either of the two ways shown in the previous slide, but rotating field method is the one which is mostly used in practice. Next, the equations of the alternating voltages and currents. Consider a rectangular coil having n turns and rotating in uniform magnetic field with an angular velocity of omega radian per second, as shown in the right. Let time be measured from the x-axis. Now, the maximum flux phi sub m is linked with the coil when its plane coincides with the x-axis. In time t seconds, this coil rotates through an angle theta as omega t. In this deflected position, the component of the flux, which is perpendicular to the plane of the coil, is phi sub m cosine of omega t. Then, the flux linkages of the coil at any time is when you say flux linkage based on your what you have learned in electromags, that's n times phi. Okay, so n times phi. Okay, and then that it's n times phi multiplied by and then cosine omega t. According to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, the EMF induced in the coil is given by the rate of change of flux linkages of the coil. Hence, the value of the induced EMF at this instant, such that theta is omega t, or the instantaneous value of induced EMF is this. The equation here, negative the first derivative of the flux linkage, okay, it's n times phi, okay, and then after that you'll get this one in the end as omega n phi sub m sine theta by simply getting its first derivative. Now, um, going back to that one, when the coil has turned through 90 degrees such that theta is 90 degrees, then sine theta is 1. Hence, E has a maximum value. Okay, so if that has a maximum value, then we can get your E sub m as omega n phi sub m. And since this is flux right now, flux is what? Is the product of flux density and the area. Okay, and so since omega, on another hand, it's that's speed in radian, so it is now converted into hertz, no, I mean from um from hertz to radian, it is multiplied by 2 pi. Okay, and if we assign that to this equation, this one, it becomes E sub m sine theta and E sub m sine omega t. Okay. Similarly, the equation of induced alternating current is I is equal to I sub m sine omega t, provided that the coil circuit has been closed through a resistive load. Now, since omega is 2 pi f, where f is the frequency of the rotation of the coil, the equations of the voltage and current can be written in this way. So take note that um, uh, the, the f there is frequency, and frequency is 1 over t. Okay, from your trigonometry, that t itself is the period of the wave. Okay, so later on we'll use that. It is seen that the induced EMF varies as a sine function of the time angle omega t, and when EMF is plotted against time, a curve similar to the one shown below and in the left, below in the left, is obtained. This curve is known as sine curve, and the EMF which varies to this manner is known as the sinusoidal EMF. Okay, so that's the one that is being produced. Such a sine curve can be conveniently drawn as shown below right. A vector equal in the length to E sub m is drawn. Now, when that vector, let's say it started here, and it started what? Rotating in this direction, okay? It makes one revolution while the generated EMF makes two loops or one cycle, okay? The projection of this vector on y-axis gives the instantaneous value E of the induced EMF such that the E sub m sine omega t. Going back to your trigonometry, this constitutes a sine function. Okay. Next, the alternate method for the equations. In the figure to the right is shown a rectangular coil AC having n turns and rotating in a magnetic field of flux density beta in Weber per square meter. Now what will happen there is that let the length of each of its sides A and C be L in meters, and their peripheral velocity in V is in meter per second. Let angle be measured from the horizontal positions, let's say from the x-axis. Let's say it's hit here. Okay? Let's say it starts from 0. And then after that, we rotated it until we achieve this theta. Yan, until we achieve this theta. When in horizontal position, the two sides A and C move parallel to the lines of the magnetic flux. Ayan. Hence, what will happen there? No flux is cut. Okay, I told you earlier that when flux is cut, there's a generated voltage. So no flux is cut, and so no EMF is generated in the coil. Okay? When the coil is turned through angle theta, its velocity can be resolved into mutually perpendicular components. Number one, the V cosine theta component parallel to the direction of the magnetic flux, and the V sine theta component perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic flux. The EMF is generated due entirely to the perpendicular component. Let's say we have here your V sine theta. Hence, the EMF generated in one side of the coil, which contains N conductors, is given by this, is equal to 2 beta NLV sine theta. If you remember in your EMAGs, electromags, now you have your BLV there. Okay? So it is correlated here. Now, E has a maximum value of E sub m when theta is 90. And since that's the way, no, we have there what? E sub m is 2 beta NLV. Okay? And let's say your velocity is pi bf. I just put there the b, no. Let's say b is the width of coil, okay, and f is the frequency of rotation. So for velocity, it looks like we're simply multiplying the circumference to the frequency. Okay? And you will get the same equation as we have done in part 2. Okay? Now let's go with this. A square coil of 10 centimeters side and 100 turns is rotated at a uniform speed of 1,000 revolutions per minute about an axis at right angles um, to a uniform magnetic field of 0.5 Weber per square meter. Calculate the instantaneous value of the induced electromotive force when the plane of the coil is first at right angles to the field and in the plane to the field. Okay, so let's go with this one first. um Now for A, it says there that it's right angle. Then we have here E as EM sine omega t. It's obvious that when it is in right angle, definitely your omega t there is zero. Okay, kasi there is no angle difference between the coil and the magnetic field. So E is equal to E sub m sine 0. And you will get there 0. Okay? But when you say B, it is in the plane of the field. It is in the plane. Definitely, omega t is 90 degrees. So that's EM. Well, for this part, we need to get the E sub m. Okay, so E sub m, by the way, is 2 pi f n beta sub ma. Okay, so I guess it's better for us to use that formula now. It's now 2 pi, and then the frequency was 1,000 revolutions per minute. Okay, but you have to convert this one to frequency, to hertz. So one revolution, okay, uh, it's in 2 pi radian. F pala to. So for um 2 pi radian, um okay na to. I guess we have there the radian per second. Okay, so we have this one. Or may I say let's convert it more to hertz so that it will not have our problem later on. Okay, but I am thinking of directly converting it to revolution, sorry. Yon, the revolution, this is revolution per minute. I'm looking for that value. Sorry. I did not, I wasn't able to read this part. I'm looking for that the time. Okay. This is 1,000 revolutions per minute. Yeah. And if we want it to be in hertz, then we have revolutions per second, or may I say just convert minute. When we go minute below, we'll have minute above. So 1 minute is to 60 seconds. Okay? And then afterwards, that's it. That this one is already in hertz. The number of turns is 100 turns. And then beta m is zero point 0.5 Weber per square meter. We don't need to convert this part. Okay? And then um and there is this 10 centimeter side, the square coil of 10 centimeter side. Can we have zero point 0.1 meters and then square it? Okay. So now we can now eliminate minutes and even the square meter. By the way, the turns Weber, it will give you a value of voltage. What's the value of E now? It's 2 pi 1000 over 60 times 100 times zero point 0.5 times zero point 0.1 squared, which is, it becomes 52.36 volts. Okay? That becomes the voltage at that point. Okay? So with that said, thank you very much for listening to this video. See you in the next topic.